friends. I am Sanjay Mansukhani from wonderdestiny.com. I am a teacher of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. These Yoga Sutras were written about 2,400 years back, and it contains the summarization of all the yogic knowledge over thousands of years. And this yogic knowledge has been divided into 4 chapters. The first chapter is on samadhi. Samadhi means the science of the mind. The second chapter is on sadhana. Sadhana means the practice by which the ultimate goal of human existence can be achieved. Number 3 is the chapter on vibhuti. Vibhuti means the results, the mystic powers which a yogi acquires after doing the suggested practice. Number 4, the chapter is called Kaivalya. Kaivalya is about the ultimate destination, the ultimate evolution of a human being in this existence. So dear friends, this, as you can understand, is a very profound subject and has been practiced in India for thousands of years. So it is not just some theory, it is not merely some hypothesis which Patanjali, the writer of these Yoga Sutras, is presenting before us. It has been there, practiced by thousands and thousands of yogis over thousands of years. It is that collective wisdom, that collective knowledge from the ancient land of India. Now, this Yoga Sutras and the yogic practice is actually based on Sankhya Darshan. And this Sankhya Darshan was given by Kapila Muni. And when Kapila Muni gave this, it was the first philosophy from the spiritual land of India. It is one of the most profound philosophies which you will ever find on this planet. So in this profound philosophy, he gave a theory of evolution, which we have been discussing over the past few days. And in this theory of evolution, he mentions 25 tattvas, 25 principles. So when he says principles or tattvas, he means mental principles, he means mental concepts, he means mental constructs. There's nothing which is physical about the whole thing, because whole creation is mental. That is the first thing you need to understand. This whole creation is a creation of the mind, in the mind, by the mind. Yes, let me repeat. This whole creation is of the mind, in the mind, by the mind. Now, out of these 25 principles, 25 tattvas, each tattva is critical. Each tattva plays a very important role in the whole scheme of things. And out of these many tattvas, the one tattva which gives the power, the intelligence to an individual to decide his future course of action. One principle which is the first form of manifestation in this creation. That one principle which is the first individualized form of this creation that one principle which at the individual level gives rise to everything which is individual, from the individual mind to the individual senses of perception, to the individual senses of action, to the individual subtle elements of Prakriti, to the individual gross elements of Prakriti. They all start from this single individual tattva. This single individual tattva is called Buddhi. This single individual tattva is a part, is a component, is a unit of cosmic intelligence. So the intelligence which is present at the cosmic level, the intelligence which gives rise, which gives birth to the whole physical cosmos, the individual intelligence or Buddhi is the cause of the individual creation. So if you look at it and if you understand what I am telling you, this whole cosmos is one massive creation. And this whole one massive creation is made up of a big number of infinite creations, individual creations. So each individual creation, when put together, forms the whole creation, the cosmic creation. So the way this cosmic creation has an intelligence, similarly the individual creation has its own intelligence. This cosmic intelligence is the first manifestation out of the coming together of the Purusha and the Prakriti. Purusha means pure consciousness, and Prakriti means pure non-consciousness. So all that is conscious, when it merges, mixes, unites, becomes one, comes close to, all that is non-conscious, inert. The cosmic creation starts. And that cosmic creation begins with the cosmic intelligence. So if you understand me clearly, the creation starts with two permanent realities, the Purusha and the Prakriti, two infinite, eternal, permanent realities, the Purusha and the Prakriti, the pure consciousness and the pure non-consciousness. They come together, and you can say the first part is the cosmic mind, the cosmic intelligence. This cosmic intelligence rolls out, and as it rolls out, as it evolves, it ends up with the physical cosmos, with this giant, virtually infinite physical cosmos. And the same cosmic intelligence is made up of many individual intelligences. Those many individual intelligences are those many buddhis. And those buddhis are virtually infinite in number. There are so many of them. There are so many individual existences. And each of these individual intelligence creates an individual ego, creates doership, creates an individual mind which does the processing, creates individual senses, senses of action, subtle elements and the gross elements. So there are infinite number of virtually individual creations. So that means an insect has its own individual creation, a tiger has its own individual creation, a bird has its own individual creation. If there are 50 lakh species of birds, then there are 50 lakh species of individual creations. If each species of bird has about 1 lakh birds, then there are 1 lakh individual creations in that single species. So you can imagine this whole cosmic creation is not actually one creation. This whole cosmic creation is a summation, is a totality of virtually infinite number of individual creations. And each individual creation starts with Buddhi. So each species of life, be it a fish, be it an insect, be it a reptile, be it a bird, be it a mammal, be it any form of existence, of living nature, they all have individual intelligence. That is the first to come in their birth cycle. That is the first to come which evolves into their creation. So Buddhi plays a very pivotal role. And now, since we virtually have no control as a baby over our individual intelligence, it is something which comes in us by default. When we are born with that individual intelligence, individual ego, individual mind, individual senses, individual subtle elements, and individual gross. So the baby opens its eyes, it sees a world, it hears a world, it can taste a world, it can feel a world on the skin. So it is all by default, which is given to us at birth. So do I have a choice of the amount of individual intelligence I was born with? No. My individual intelligence is a product of nature, is a product of what has come to me by default. Can I improve my individual intelligence is the question now. And the answer is yes. If I am born a moron, is it possible for me to become a genius like Einstein? Then the theory of evolution of Samkhya and then the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali tell you that it is possible, very much possible, to improve your intelligence. Now, most of us would be surprised, in fact shocked. How is it possible that a moron can become a genius? So there is a way of doing it. Kapila Muni says in his Samkhya Darshan, if you can think of anything, then be rest assured it can be done. Because this creation is at 3 levels of existence. One is the spiritual domain, second is the mental domain, and third is the physical domain, and they are strung together like a chain. From the spiritual comes the mental, from the mental comes the physical. So from the Purusha and Prakriti comes the individual intelligence, individual ego, individual mind. From the Purusha and Prakriti at the spiritual level comes the cosmic intelligence, and further down the cosmic mind and the physical cosmos. So the spiritual part, the mental part, and the physical part are connected. They are one for each individual. Now, if I work on these tattvas, these principles which form my individual creation, I can improve my buddhi. How is it possible? Let us look at the science of it. Some people will call the metaphysics, because they do not think this is 100% correct. They do not think this is something which is repeatable. They do not think this is something which can be done with each and every individual. They feel this is some kind of a pseudoscience. It is not so. It is 100% repeatable science. It is based on the theory of cause and effect. There is no mumbo jumbo about it. If you apply the cause, you're bound to get the effect. Now let us look at this buddhi from the perspective of Sankhya, from the perspective of Kapila Muni. Kapila Muni says the entire Prakriti, the entire non-conscious entity of the creation, of the existence, displays three qualities simultaneously at all points of time in fluctuating proportions. But the three of them always coexist. So what are these three of them? They are called the gunas. They are called the qualities of Prakriti. The first quality is sattva. Sattva means the quality of formlessness. The second is the opposite quality, which is called tamas. Tamas is the quality of form. The third is the quality of change, transformation, which is rajas. So if you look around entire nature, if you look around entire mental presence, entire functioning of the mind of any creature, of any living organism, you will find these three qualities. Qualities of formlessness, quality of form, and quality of change of form, transformation. So in the Prakriti outside, you will find the open sky, which is formless. You will find the open space, which is formless. You will find form in the shape of the earth, in the shape of the rivers, in the shape of the sun, in the shape of the moon, in the form of buildings, cars, human bodies, everything that's around us also has form. And just because nothing is permanent, everything is transitory, everything is changing. So you will also find the form becoming the formless and the formless becoming the form. So these three coexist. Now, if we look at specifically buddhi, intelligence, a person who is highly intelligent will have tremendous amount of sattva and very low percentage proportion of rajas and tamas. Very low proportion of mental activity and mental lethargy. He will be calm, composed, light, knowledgeable in nature. If a person at the buddhi stage has less of sattva and more of tamas and more of rajas, such a person will not be a very intelligent person. Such a person would be a person who is lazy, always in doubt. Mind is not calm. The mind is not at peace. The mind is not active in the right sense. So now, knowing where the fault lies, that there is too much of rajas and too much of tamas. So, if one starts purifying the mind, then in this purification process, the rajas will diminish, the tamas will diminish, and when the rajas and the tamas diminish, sattva will automatically rise. So that means is when I start cleaning up my mind, when I start purifying my mind, I will become intelligent. I will become more wise. I will become more knowledgeable. I will become more powerful. So, dear friends, if one knows the methodology by which tamas can be removed and rajas can be removed, then automatically you become intelligent, you become wise, you become knowledgeable, you become powerful. So, yogic methods are methods by which the mind is purified. There are various methods by which this is done. I can just list down few of the methods for you. One method is the method of discipline, is the method of tapasya, penance, austerities, where you put your senses, your body and the mind under rigorous pressure. It could be as simple as controlling your diet. It could be as simple as controlling your sleeping hours. So when you start regulating, then the tamas and the rajas break and they move out from the mind. The second method which Patanjali has suggested for commoners or beginners like Kriya Yoga is Swa-Adhyaya. Swa-Adhyaya is when you start learning about yourself as to who you are. When you peep deep inside you, have a look at who you really are. This starts up a cleaning process. All the memories inside which are not desired, which are having unconstructive results inside you, they automatically get removed because of this introspection. A cleaning up starts. Second is if you start reading literature which is connected to self-improvement, self-knowledge. It could be the scriptures, it could be some modern literature also. So there again, you start controlling, regulating, stopping, subduing the tamas and the rajas. Again, the sattva increases. You become more intelligent, more wise, more knowledgeable, more powerful. The third method which has been suggested is the method of Ishvara pranidhana. That means devotion to God. When you imbibe devotion, then the first thing which happens is your ego gets diminished and eventually subdued. And when this internal ego, which is a combination of rajas and tamas, goes away, one finds that other issues like attachment, aversion, fear, all of them also go up and disappear. So this also cleans up the rajas and the tamas inside you. All the residues from the past could be from the past life, in the form of past karmas, past sanskaras, past vrittis, or in other terms could be thoughts, could be ideas, concepts, could be past memories, could be past subliminal programming of the mind, past patterns, deeply imbibed, deeply implanted in the subconscious mind, they start coming out, they start dissolving, they start disappearing. So again, the rajas and the tamas go out. Now you become very much sattvic. And once you are very much sattvic, then the mind now does not have the presence of rajas and tamas in a significant manner. What is significantly present now in the mind is formlessness. Just because it is formless now, just because it is sattvic now, it has properties, characteristics which is very close to pure consciousness. It has characteristics which represents high knowledge. It has characteristics which represents very high level of power, very high level of happiness, ananda. So, very high level of health. So, Buddhi is an indicator of where you are operating from in terms of the three qualities of Prakriti. And what has Prakriti given you by default? What level of Sattva, what level of Tamas, and what level of Rajas? Our starting levels are not decided by us individually. They simply happen to us based on our past karma, based on our past sanskaras, based on our past memories. But what we do with our current status, with our congenital status of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas is entirely on us. And if I am able to remove all Rajas and all Tamas to such an extent that they are inconsequential, then you will be surprised. My mind ceases to exist. It has become so pure that there are no thoughts now. It has become so pure that there are no memories now. It has become so pure that there are no vrittis, no sanskaras, no karmas there. It is empty. So when it becomes empty, the mind itself in totality disappears. So when the buddhi is at the highest level possible, there is no mind. And who is perceiving the world outside? It is the mind. The world outside is perceived, sensed, analyzed by the mind. And if the mind itself is not there, if the buddhi itself is not there, if I may use the comprehensive term of chitta, which constitutes the buddhi, the ahankara and the manas. So if the buddhi has become clear, the buddhi has become completely sattvic, that means the manas, the mind has disappeared, the ahankara, the ego has disappeared, now the buddhi has disappeared, therefore the chitta has disappeared. When there is no chitta, there is no samsara, there is no world. Because the world of objects and people outside cannot be perceived by anything now. So when the world has disappeared and the chitta has disappeared, the physical part has disappeared, and the mental part of the individual has disappeared. So what is left? In a way, you can say only the spiritual part is left. He has become completely enlightened. Such an individual has reached the state of Kevalya, the state of moksha, the state of mukti, the state of liberation, the state of complete freedom, absolute independence. So you see, if you understand even one tattva, say the mind, and especially the buddhi, as I explained to you today in today's talk, you can see, you can do wonders, unbelievable wonders. That is the power of Samkhya Darshan. That is the power of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And in which literatures of this world can you find such power? That by a simple explanation, by a DIY, do-it-yourself process, you become free of all sorrow. Why? Because where is the source of all sorrow? The source of all the human sorrow or sorrow of any living creature is the mind. And when the mind itself has disappeared, the world itself has disappeared, how can there be any sorrow? So all you experience now is Param Ananda, or if I may use the term, permanent happiness. So the purpose of these talks is to tell you that to become permanently happy is something which is very simple. There is no rocket science to it. You can do it. You can achieve it in this lifetime or even earlier. And we hope and pray that once you get this permanent happiness, you teach it to your family members, members of your society, your country, and people of this world at large, so that together we can heal the whole planet. Together we can create a happy planet, and together we can give our coming generations a happy planet. I am immensely grateful to all of you for being here and listening to today's talk. I hope and pray you achieve this permanent happiness as soon as possible. Thank you again for being here. May God bless you, and see you all tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. We'll be discussing another tattva. The focus remains on the Sankhya Darshan of Kapila Muni. And these are series of talks on Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Thank you so much. God bless each one.